Hello children, a very warm welcome to the virtual session again. So let us continue with the revision session of chapter Force and Pressure. This will be revision session 3. Let us continue with non-contact forces. In the previous session we have done contact forces where you have seen muscular forces and frictional forces. Here in this we will see non-contact forces. This non-contact force, as you know, as the name suggests, though they are not in bodies are not in contact, though they exert pressure force on each other. So when they exert force on each other without any contact, such forces are called as non-contact forces. So we have magnetic force, gravitational force, electrostatic force, so on and so forth. So let us will continue with this revision. Magnetic force, the force exerted by any magnetic object is called magnetic force. We know that magnetic poles always repel each other, that is, they push each other away. Also, opposite magnetic poles always attract each other, that is why they pull each other towards themselves. So, there exists some kind of force that is called as magnetic force. So, like poles will repel each other, unlike poles, opposite poles will attract each other. That is called as magnetic force. So you have learned magnetic force. Suppose a magnetic bar, you will have a north and south pole. South and south pole will repel, north pole and north pole will repel, but south pole and north pole will attract. So this is the way the magnetic force will act. Like over here, this example, this diagram, clear with the diagram. Green arrow shows indicate magnetic forces. So here you will have the opposite force, red and black opposite poles will attract, red and red like poles will repel, and a magnetic force where you have a magnet kept in a horizontal and a vertical position, they will show rotation. So the magnetic force is acting. This is a magnetic force, children. Now we learn, we have already done this. You need not write this again. If you have already written in your notebook, you just have to go through this session and you need to just reinforce concepts. You need to have a recap of the concepts, children. You need not write this again. What is electrostatic force? Force exerted by charged particle is called as electrostatic force. So, simple example we have discussed. You take a comb on a dry hair, you take a dry comb and you rub against your hair, and then some charge will develop, that is electrostatic charge, and when you bring it near the pieces of paper, it will attract to it. Or you can try with a plastic ruler as well. Take a plastic ruler on your dry hair, you rub against the dry hair, or you rub against a silk cloth, some electrostatic charge will develop and it will attract paper pieces. So this is a simple experiment you can try. And we know that like charges always repel or push each other away. So that's why it's a force. So though the body is not coming in contact, some force is always there. This is called as non-contact forces. Similarly, opposite charges always attract or pull each other towards themselves. Same law follows as magnetic forces. So over here, like charges, positive repel, negative will repel, neutral will not show any change, attraction will be there between negative and positive charge. That means unlike charges will attract, like charges will repel. So this rule also goes for electrostatic force. I think the concept should be clear with you, children. Then gravitational force. It is an attractive force that is applied by the earth on all objects. So every object on the earth experience gravitational pull, that is called as gravitational force, and it always acts towards the center of the earth. So it is called the force of gravity that acts upon all the objects that present on the earth or near the earth's surface. Gravity is a property exhibited by every object present in the universe and not only on the earth. So this is a property this is exhibited in the universe, not only in earth. Hence all the planets, the moons and even the sun have gravitational force of their own. So even other planets and they have their own gravitational force. You can try and relate to it. though the gravity or the gravitational force will differ in every planet. So your weight in moon will be the 1/6 of the weight on earth. It's like that because of the difference in the gravity. Gravity on moon is very low. Gravity, the value of that gravity. So value of gravity is very low numerically. If you see on the moon, that's why your weight over here will be more on earth, but on moon it will be 1/6 time, because the gravity of the moon is 1/6 of the gravity of the earth. This is how you see how gravity works. Any object you throw upward or you throw in any direction, it will always go down on the ground. That means there is some pull on the ground, that is gravitational force. So that pull is called as gravitational force. Any object you just throw upward with a force, with however force you apply, it will try to come down with a force. That force is called as gravity. Unless you overcome the gravitational force of attraction of the earth, like we do while launching a satellite, we send a rocket which with a propelling force, and that overcome, it will go beyond the atmosphere and it will overcome the gravitational force, and it will go and will launch the satellite. So for that you have to overcome the gravitational pull of the earth. uh, Now for this chapter we have come to the next part, the later part of the chapter. The name of the chapter is force and pressure. So here we are just going to have a revision on pressure now. What is pressure? Since we are learning force, we need to know what is pressure, because here they are related. How they are related, what is pressure, we have already done. You just need to have a recap and you reinforce the concepts. Not only the magnitude of the force, but the area upon which it acts also affect the changes it may bring upon an object. So the magnitude, the value with which a force act on a surface, not only that, but you need to know the area upon which it is acting. So it's extremely important, the area upon which it is acting. It affects the changes in and may bring upon on an object. So it is not only the magnitude of the force, but the area upon which force is acting, that will affect the changes it may bring upon an object. The force acting upon a unit area is called pressure. That means the formula goes like this: the force acting, pressure is equal to force upon area, that you all know. So a force acting on in a unit area upon a unit area, that becomes a pressure. When you apply a force, that means on a unit area, whatever force you are applying, that becomes the pressure in a unit area. Hence the pressure exerted by an object depend upon its surface area. If the surface area is small, the amount of pressure applied is large, and vice versa. Why it is like that, we will see with the formula. Because the formula says pressure is equal to force upon area. So where pressure is equal to force upon area, where you can see in the formula pressure is directly related to force but inversely related to the area. You have more the area, less the pressure. Less the area, more the pressure. We will see some examples of this. And you should know the SI unit of pressure is Pascal, PA, or Newton per meter square, because you have to find pressure per unit area. Force act upon a unit area is a pressure. That's why it is, the unit will be Newton per meter square. So here you have a formula: pressure is equal to force upon area, or you can make change the subject of the formula. Area can become force upon pressure, or force is equal to area into pressure. So as per the sum solving which you will do, you are going to modify this formula, but your basic formula, pressure is equal to force upon area. This is the relation between force, pressure and area. So here in this formula you can see you have direct relation between pressure and force, and inverse relation between pressure and area. You can relate like that, and this is a basic formula, you can modify. Then examples of relationship between area and pressure. Over here you can see, just now I have discussed about the area. Force, pressure is equal to force upon area. And when you can calculating pressure for different areas. Here you have a object weighing 100 Newton. An object weighing 100 Newton, where the first object will have area zero point 0.1 meter square and the other object have 0.01 meter square. So you can see the difference between the pressure you get. When you substitute the values, you will see the pressure. You will find the pressure for the first one, where the area is 0.1 meter square, is 1000 pascals. When the area becomes very small, that means 10 times smaller than the first one, the pressure becomes 10 times more. So in the second object you can see area where you have 0.01 meter square, pressure becomes 10,000 pascals. So how this inverse relation work, you can see in this calculation. We have already seen. So over here with the same weight of or the force, that is 100 Newton of both the object, you can see due to the difference in the area, here you have so much difference in the pressure. So you can relate to this formula. This concept can be related to this formula because area plays a very important role, where the force remain constant and there's a 10 times difference in the area, there will be a 10 times difference in the pressure. It is easier to push a nail. A very good examples we are going to discuss now, how pressure and area are related. It is easier to push a nail into a wooden plank by its pointed end than its head because the pressure is more. Pointed means the area is very small, so you can easily push it because the area of the tip of the nail is very small, it's very pointed, therefore you can apply maximum pressure. See the relation between pressure and area here. It is easier to cut vegetables with a sharp knife than a blunt knife because the pressure is more. Again, area and pressure, you can see the relation, inverse relation. A sharp knife, the edge will have a very small area, the highest pressure it can give, whereas blunt knife will have a wider area and that pressure applied will be lesser. Shoulder bags have broad and not thin straps to reduce pressure. That's why your shoulder bags have a wide straps, so that it will give you less pressure on your shoulder and it will not burden you with the load. Here you can see the pictures: iron nail, a knife, and a bag strap you can see. So a sharp edge will have a very small area, therefore greater pressure. And if it have a blunt, if a knife is blunt, that means the area, wide area, lesser pressure. So that blunt knife will not cut easily. Thank you, children. I hope the concept very clear with you. You understood the relationship between pressure, force, and area with the formula and the examples. We will continue with the revision session. Thank you, children. Have a wonderful day.